Welcome, everybody. This is the DVMUG Zoom meeting for Tuesday, October 27th. And we'll go to speaker view. And how come I don't see me on the main screen? That's weird. Speaker view. You see me, everybody, right? I don't see me on the screen.
Yes, see you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so unfortunately, Rick emailed me this morning and said he had to go to the doctor himself at 2:45 and he couldn't make it. So he emailed me the keynote. So I'm going to try to run that and we'll show his videos, which I was able to watch about mail, because that's the topic we just decided, even though the last meeting last Wednesday, we mostly talked about mail before Rick arrived at the meeting. So we got two more questions and I can share my screen and show those. So let me do that. I'll bring up, share my screen.
There's Roger.
Now, this is going to be weird because it's going to show. Okay, so you see my screen. All right, zoom, hide, zoom. Okay, so I'm going to get the BBS up here and get those questions. We got 3 questions. You can bear with me here. He didn't embed these questions in the keynote, so. Okay, Zoom mail. Here was our 3 questions. Who wants to go first? We have we got Gregory, he's here. Joanne is here, but I don't think Judy is here. Is that Judy here?
Yeah.
Oh, you are too, okay. Well, this is the one that came in first. We'll start with this one. So I'm gonna say make this so you can read it a little better. Can you read that? You need a little bigger.
No, that's
Fine.
good.
I'll make it 150, okay. So this has a problem with a drive, and she's using Drive DX, which I've recommended and talked about before. And also Drive Genius, which does a similar thing, which most of you have probably never heard of. I have that program, but I don't use it much. So let's see if you're able to show that Drive DX screen. Can you share your screen? I'll stop showing mine.
Okay.
And let you show yours. So
See how that's.
yikers, here, stop share. Okay, now we have you. See if you can share your screen. The green button at the bottom, there you go.
There.
All right, so this is Drive DX. I recognize it. And you're right to be concerned because at the top it says failing. That's not a good thing.
And
it is your external drive because
right,
your internal's at the top.
Right.
Right. So click on the next one, health indicators right there. And I'll show you a whole bunch of stuff. Now scroll down until you see something that's yellow.
Yeah, I have to get it over to where I can move you guys. Can I move you guys over?
So far I don't see the yellow one.
No, they're coming. They're coming. It's
Current pending
193.
sector count.
This one and the one down here.
Lifespan indicator. Okay. There's another one besides the current pending. There's more than one.
There's the 193 up here.
Well, that one's still in the green.
And then there's this current pending sector count, and it's got this
explanation. Yeah, you can click on that. I'll tell you what that means.
I'm trying to click on it, but nothing's.
Yeah, you had it.
Okay,
yeah, it's not popping up now.
Over here.
Oh, there it is.
Do you think that just by clearing the drive and reinitializing it would solve the problem?
You can erase the drive and it won't change any of these parameters. These are all hardware parameters.
Oh, okay,
It's not software.
okay,
Now you can erase the drive, start over, and nothing. I've tried it before. It doesn't change any of
okay.
this. So that's a lifespan indicator, and they're putting you into the failing because of that. So there's
Now,
not
and I
currently
had
anything
this-
wrong with it. What they do is they look at all these parameters and they make a determination that because of these things, there's nothing currently wrong, but it's an indicator that it might be it's wearing out because it's an SSD.
Okay,
I think I see the same thing on the BBS SSD. I don't know. I haven't seen an SSD fail
okay.
yet.
Yet, because I bought this in January of this year. So,
Oh,
and
well, it might be still under warranty then.
yeah, well, that's why I'm wanting to get this. And let's see, the Drive Genius, is it done? Now, see, now it's saying it's okay. But on the other hand,
Well, we still see Drive DX.
oh, okay, you don't see the,
No, we're still on
No.
Drive DX.
okay, so let me go back. Where's my,
She may have just shared that application.
yeah,
screen.
right. So
Right.
now I need to figure out how to get back.
So go ahead and stop sharing. And then if you go back,
Oh.
you can share desktop one.
Okay. New share. This. Share. Okay. Now, let me get this. This is what it came up now. But I had been on my computer around 11 o'clock this morning. Nothing came up. I just kind of left it plugged in and sitting here knowing I was going to be with you guys this afternoon. When I came at about 2:45, this is what I saw, this drive integrity warning. And it's for that same drive.
Well, there's this
So-
program and Drive DX and TechTool Pro, all these programs, they read the same data, excuse me, the same data off the drive that's in the hardware, and they just interpret it differently.
So, but when you look at, I ran it, and this is what it said, it looked like it was all
Well,
okay.
where's all I see is that it's checking. I don't see the end
Oh, it's
result.
done. It's done. And I don't know how to get anywhere else. It doesn't,
I don't see the report.
I don't know. Where do you get the report?
I don't know. I don't use this program, so.
Maybe
Oh.
in the top right, there's a 3 lines with 3 dots. Click on that. In the top right,
Top right.
Other right.
there.
Oops. Yeah, but I got to get,
Right.
No.
Nope, that ain't it.
no, doesn't.
Try clicking on done and see what happens.
I
If you
just
notice the note on it, it's
all of
only a
that
pass
away
fail.
and it starts all over.
If you
Sorry,
note-
Ken,
if you
what was
note at the
that?
top, it says it runs the most common tests and provides a pass fail status.
Okay. I would go ahead and tell them the Drive DX report, send that one to OWC and
Okay.
see if you can get it, replaced under warranty.
Okay,
They have a
that's-
place to save the report where you can email it to them.
Well, let me see what it says under history. Back. No, that just goes back there.
No, you need to go back to Drive DX
Oh, okay.
and
You
try
wanna
and
save
save
this. Save
that report.
Okay,
Or just send them a screenshot of the error
okay,
and that should fix it. That should be
Okay.
enough for them to go on or whatever.
okay. Because TechTool Pro had found I'm pretty sure the same. No, it's on my hard, my big computer. This is my laptop, but my Mac Mini, there was issues there as well. Okay, send a screenshot of the error. All right.
Yeah, unless you can find a way to save the report. Go ahead and stop your screen sharing now. And
Okay. Okay, let me get up here and stop share. All right.
So I believe Drive Genius is made by the same people that make Tech Tool, is that right?
No,
No,
I
No?
don't think so.
No?
No.
no, Drive
Drive
Genius
Genius
is ProSoft.
ProSoft.
Oh, okay, ProSoft, okay, yeah.
They're,
Tech Tool does make some thing besides Tech Tool Pro that does a similar kind of SATA check thing.
I just want to take a minute to say, hi, Bert. How's Hawaii?
Aloha, Ann. Good to be with you. Hi, John.
This was the first time you made it to a Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of me from now on.
Well, what's taking you so long? We've been doing
Right.
this for 6 months every week.
You put those down when she's leaving them. That's okay. There's nothing in there that's gonna kill her.
Okay, so
Get out of there.
were you
think that's-
concerned that there was a problem, or you were just happened to
Well-
check this?
no, well, after I had that other issue that you fixed, and you mentioned Drive Genius, so I went and got it, could put it on all three of the computers.
Because you
and,
already owned it?
No, actually ended up buying it for $30. I could put it on all three computers and also download the thing that would check your external drives. And so I went
Well,
around.
I would have told you about Drive DX, not Drive Genius.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys I think have had Drive Genius to your meetings, and I know it here, TMUG, we've had them. They're right around the corner from where I live.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we even did a field trip there once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's why I was familiar with them as well. And
Right. I
expect
like
to-
them as a company. They're pretty
Right.
impressive. And their tools, their data recovery tools rock.
Yeah, well, luckily I haven't had to use anything. Knock
Okay,
on
so
wood
you're,
here.
yeah,
I'm
if
done.
I saw yellow stuff in the Drive DX, I would be concerned. Mostly
Okay.
hard drives, what I would do is just throw them away. But that's a brand
This
new
is a
drive.
brand new one. I haven't even had it a year.
Yeah, that's not right. It's still under
So-
warranty.
Yeah, and it's
they'll probably send you a refurbished though when you send it in.
Mm.
Yeah, SSD drives do deteriorate over time. They have a lifespan. There's a lot of these checking utilities like this will tell you that you've used it a lot and it's, how much of the lifespan is left.
Right. That was the other error. That it was a lifespan. It said at 37% left.
Yeah, but I haven't used it that much.
Right.
Because it originally was just to clone my Mac Mini back in the beginning of the year. And
Mhm.
once all that got done, it kind of sat in the corner until I was looking for a backup for my laptop. Once we started all this Zoom business, I needed to back up my laptop. And so I just got it out and used it for a time machine backup.
I usually don't recommend using an SSD for time machine backup because they do have
Waste.
the limited cycles. So if it's running every single hour, it's pounding away
Hmm.
on,
So it's also a complete waste because Time Machine is not going to be any faster on an SSD than on a spinning hard drive. So you're wasting the speed.
Well, that was all I had,
Yeah, and what you want for Time Machine is not speed, you want size.
size. Well, this is
No.
a terabyte.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, let's move on to
Okay,
the
move
next.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
let's
I'm
move. I'll
done.
move on to the next question. Okay, let me see. Share my screen. Oh, I can do the BBS directly. Okay, so there we go. Zoom mail. Gregory, you ready to share your mail's rule setting?
The window's not coming up. We only see the desktop.
That sucks. I wonder why that is. Okay, maybe I'll
Because
back out of, hold on.
yeah,
All right,
back out.
I got an idea. It's probably because it only shares that window, doesn't
Right.
share the pop-up windows. So
Right.
stop share. Share this. Okay, hide. Zoom. Okay, close that. You see it now? Okay, so here's Gregory. Let's make him a little bigger. So this is a question about mail rules. And from what I understand, you want to,
Hello.
Lloyd, mute. Okay. This is a question about, I believe you want to forward a mail you get to your wife. Is that right?
Yeah, we travel a bit, and I wanted to send her. I get a Travel Zoo ad about twice or three times a week, and I wanted to just automatically send it to her. So I have tried to
share. So go ahead and share your screen, and hopefully we can look at the rule you made.
So stop sharing yours, John.
Okay. Stop share.
Gregory, when you share your screen, share desktop 1 instead of the window so we can, so if you need to jump around, you can.
Okay. I'm not.
Okay, we got something going on. Black screen. There you go. Now you go to your mail. You can close that window if you want.
I can't see anything at the moment.
We see a screen with Zoom on it. A Zoom
Okay.
website.
I have two monitors, so
Oh,
that's the other monitor.
oh, okay. Can you drag your mail app over to the second monitor?
Like so?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so go to preferences and rules. Let's look at your rule. Yep, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, so you got two rules. One, news from Apple, that comes built in.
Yeah. But this is the rule I did for my wife.
From
Right.
contains this address, then forward the message to her. So
Right.
this
That
is a
looks correct.
problem, except there's the problem. With mailing lists, the from address isn't necessarily correct. So it may not find that as the from address. It's weird.
Okay.
Is the subject always the same, or does that differ week to week?
Good question.
Is the subject contain the word travel zoo as on? We'll have to go back and look at the mail you're trying to deal with to get, I'm kind of think that's what it is.
Okay.
So you can close the mail thing, the rule thing for temporarily. Okay, find this one of these messages. See if you can just do a search for travel zoo. Okay.
Looks like the subjects are going to be different.
But it does say travel zoo.
No, that's from Travel Zoo. It's not.
Right, so that'll work.
S-
Oh,
Mm-mm.
no, see, look at, Yeah.
That's
When you-
from, I go back again. Click on Travel Zoo again and look at the email address.
Here,
You try
Yeah,
select-
name is Travel Zoo, and then their email address is
top 20 deals.
something else.
Why don't you
Yeah.
try setting it to pick up the word travel zoo in the body?
Yeah, I think that might work. If you say from contains Travel Zoo, because that's what it's identified as, the person's name is Travel Zoo.
Or the
Okay.
body contains travel zoo.
Yeah, that would work too.
Okay,
I think it might work if you put Travel Zoo in there, just that.
okay.
Yeah, you can mess around with that. Short of that, why doesn't your wife make an account at Travel
Yeah,
Zoo?
that's what I was wondering. Why
Well,
didn't
this
she
is,
just get it directly?
this is something for me to do too.
To mail this, she can just subscribe to it.
No, I know, that would be the easy way, but I thought, oh, I'll just make a rule on this and just have it do it automatically. And then-
Yeah, mess around
Not
with,
the easy solutions.
Yeah,
right.
This
I
is
think
the
you just have to
problem.
Mess around.
Now-
Of trying, when mail lists trying to deal with making them spam or not spam has the same problem, because the return address isn't exactly Travel Zoo. It's the mail service they're using or something else.
right. Now, does it make a difference if I do it through mail, iCloud, or or Gmail?
Where are they sending this to? What
Well,
address?
it pops up on this one.
Yeah, but
you know, on-
what's the to field? Click on your name and the to. Where are they sending it?
Card Peddler, Gmail, and
Oh, they're sending it to
Card Peddler
your
iCloud.
Gmail address. So there's a
Oh.
video. I don't know if Rick has this video, but there is one from MacMost that explains
right.
to not make any mail rules in Apple Mail. Make them on the server so they get sorted and sent to you directly in the correct folders.
And I'm thinking the why it didn't work on that is for the same reason it wasn't working on my Apple Mail, is because the address is wonky.
If you
You
were
know,
going to
when she
make a
was-
rule on the server, you would make it on Gmail, because that's where this is coming to. And on Gmail, you would say, if this, then that, on Gmail on the web.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, try it there first and try to, play around. Just do it contains Travel Zoo or something.
Okay. I'll do that.
All righty,
Thank you for your help.
go ahead and stop sharing your screen. Very good. Now, John, we
Let's-
have one more.
Let's do another one.
I'm gonna run into the other room real quick.
Okay, Judy here. Are you here, Judy Bank?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. You believe your email has been hacked, and that's not the correct term. You're just
well-
getting spam that you don't want. Nobody hacked your email.
Well, I didn't give you the whole story. Actually,
All right.
the computer got hacked because I got one of those threatening emails with my actual password into my computer.
Oh,
So
no.
that had
Mhm.
happened.
So, but no, that's all you did was get an email saying, we saw you doing this and we know your password.
Yeah, and they had the right password.
Okay, that's just spam.
Well,
They
okay,
didn't access your account.
no,
They wanted you to go to Bitcoin and send them money, right?
of course. No,
Okay,
I
well,
mean, I know it's right.
that's a standard
right. I know.
spam,
I
and
know.
they don't log into your account. All they want is the money.
Right.
But
Well, and I knew I knew they hadn't, because the stuff that was in that, hostage letter was completely inaccurate. So I knew that it was,
except
Yeah.
the password was correct.
except the password was correct.
And that is a password on an account that you use somewhere that they got into the whole system. So they know your email address and the associated password. So the most important thing is anywhere you use that password, you need to change it.
I did that immediately.
Okay, you're good then.
And I have a two, the two system, so it's not just a single password. There's also another thing they have to go through. But
Right, so
so my question is, so I have
Yes.
another Comcast email address that's inside the Comcast Xfinity site.
you know,
That has not been hacked, that hasn't been, I don't get any stuff in there at all. I was just wondering if there's any way to clean up the, when I click on the Apple Mail and I get all this
no,
stupid,
there's nothing you can do about this.
okay.
It's a possibility. Did this spam? Are you talking about other spam besides this one with your password in it?
Yes,
A bunch of other spam started coming after that
Yes.
happened.
yes.
So somewhere where you used your email address and your password, that's gotten out and it's circulating among the spammers, and they're using it to send you spam. But once you're
Clearly.
on those lists,
Right.
you're screwed. You can't get off.
Okay,
If it's a lot of email coming, you'll have to abandon your address.
I just wanted to know, I mean, my phone blocks it, so I never even see them unless I go into the junk mail on Comcast,
Yeah.
and then I see all of these emails that the phone has, that has put into junk, and I never see them.
If you get a lot of emails from the same people, you go into the web-based mail and block it there. It'll never
Yeah,
get to
but
the Apple Mail.
how many emails are we talking a day?
Oh, probably 10.
Yeah, and as opposed to how many total do you get a day that are good?
About 50.
Okay, that's manageable.
That's
But
thanks. Okay.
you'll have to consider that if it gets worse, you may have to abandon this address.
Yeah, it's the one I've used for a long time. It's the one everybody
know.
knows. And it's the one and the reason I asked the question today is it's the one when I click on the mail in the, in the regular Apple site. When I go through that clunky, Xfinity set of portals, that one is fine. That one has not been compromised.
What'd you buy?
It's not a good idea in general to use
John, stop sharing your screen so that I can see who's talking.
Okay, hold on.
I need to.
It's not a good idea in general to use the email address provided by your ISP as a general rule.
You mean the icon that's in my
Comcast.
bar? I shouldn't use that?
Comcast. Because you don't own that.
Right.
So if you happen to move somewhere or don't like Comcast and you fire them, or you move somewhere where they don't have Comcast and they got something else, bye-bye email address.
Right. That's why I do have other addresses.
Right. Gmail's permanent everywhere in the world.
Right.
That's good
I have a
good-
G. Right. I got
There
a G.
you go. There you go. It's
It's just
painful.
this
to
one
move-
is the thing is this one's
I know.
convenient because the icon's right in my bar and I just click it and the mail comes up. So,
Yeah.
I was just
It's not a-
annoyed that
it's-
that's the one.
It's not good as a general rule to read your email on the web either. Gmail's okay because it was designed for the web to begin with, but most other ISPs
Up here.
on the web, it's terrible. They feed you ads. They want you to go and read it on there because they show you ads.
I don't see any ads.
On the Xfinity website?
Oh, on the Xfinity one, yeah. No, well, once I get in it, once I get into my actual email, there's no ads, but I have to go through several windows and those have ads.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not a good way to do it. They better off to read it in Apple Mail.
Well, but this is the problem. So that's the one that I'm having issues with. That's why I just wanted to know if there's some way to get rid of it. And if there isn't, then I just deal with it. Okay.
Yeah. Nope. You did the right thing. Don't use that password anywhere ever anymore and change it.
No, it's all changed. I mean, I changed them all everywhere. So.
Yep, you're good. That's all
Okay,
you can
thank
do.
you. That's it.
I've never heard of this increasing your spam. It's becoming less common, but that was a while ago. That was very common. Everybody was getting this. They'd say, "We've seen you doing this on the web, and we're going to tell all your friends. This is your password. If you don't send us some Bitcoin, we're going to show all these bad videos that you've been doing to all your friends.
Right. And that's how I knew that they didn't have anything, because I don't
It
have
was
any.
boilerplate. It was always the same message,
Right,
you know.
right.
So there you
But they
go.
clearly, it's circulating because I'm getting these ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, somehow that, since they have that address,
Yeah.
the bad guys have that address, so somehow it latched onto some, they circulate those all. Once you get on a spam list and it circulates around,
Yeah.
you'll never stop it. It'll come for the rest of your life.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I have malware bites, so I always make sure I run that, but
Yeah, it won't help. That doesn't
I
have anything
know
to
it
do with
doesn't help.
Someone's raising his hand.
I think we burned our first half hour of our rule about questions.
Lori, several people are raising their hands, but let's see. I think Lori and was Al. Good. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, thank you. I'm on my iPad today because we have no electricity bill. And we've been free of electricity now for quite a while. When I go into my, what do you call it? Your address book. When I go into my address book and I go to my cousin's name, I have her address is there under her home email address. Then it's got 3 other email addresses that it found in mail, thanks to Siri.
Yes.
They're all bogus. I would like very much to remove those from my address book, just so that I don't make a mistake and send something to one of these people that I do not want to have anything to do with.
So in her contact, where it suggests, where it has it, it's kind of grayed out and there's a info button at the end. You can push it and
Yeah.
say, add the address book or ignore.
Okay, let me click on that. Ignore. Awesome. Thank you, John.
I don't know.
Thank
Those aren't
you.
even addresses that you recognize?
Pardon?
Those addresses you didn't even recognize belong to her?
They don't belong to her.
that's
One
weird.
is from infome@mctv.nejp from Japan. Another
Usually
one.
usually the suggestion is some other email that they actually have.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In this case, that's weird that it's suggesting something that's bogus.
And it's not letting me throw them away.
Well, if you
It is
ignore them, they
not
should go
letting
away.
me ignore it.
Hmm.
You know, it's this, the email is, sorry for not emailing you, emailing it to you earlier. And then there's a link to click on. And I've
Okay,
gotten
so
that
maybe
from a
there's
million-
No.
Wait. Maybe there's some spammy piece of email from her in your mailbox. If you could do a search on those bogus addresses and find those emails and delete them, then perhaps you could ignore after the fact.
I see. Okay, I'll work on that. Go ahead to the next person.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Al?
Well, I have a comment on getting rid of old emails. In your Apple Mail, if you go to Windows, you'll have in a drop down a previous recipients.
Yeah.
And you can type in her name and it'll show all these, may show all those emails, and then you can just click and delete them.
When I do a search just under her name, the only one of these bogus emails came up. And that one is in here with the thing from Siri. And her name is Marjorie Tangen. And the email is from ryan.eaton@gotarleton.edu. That is not her address. The email that it's attached to that is totally bogus. It's one of these boilerplate things that I've gotten from countless friends who've, you know, same kind of deal where you're getting the Bitcoin thing. And
Right,
it
so
says,
delete that email and see if it works to then ignore in the address book. And if that works,
Okay.
then use that method for the other 2. We have to move on. would,
I understand. Okay,
Al,
thank you. That
Al, you
did
had a
work.
question?
That
Yes,
worked.
I noticed that everybody's picture on the screen sharing looks sharp. Mine is not fuzz, is somewhat
I
fuzzy.
noticed that too. I noticed
And
that last week.
I've cleaned the camera several times. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the repair that we did earlier this year.
I don't know. It looks like it's got like Vaseline on the lens or something.
It's just, I've sprayed it and cleaned it and all, but it doesn't ever get sharp.
Doesn't Zoom have some sort of feature that allows you to soft focus your image if you?
Yes, Zoom does, but I have that feature turned on and my image, although you don't see quite so many like spotty
I thought you were
elements
looking
of my
pretty good.
face, it's clear.
Al, try giving yourself some more light.
Pardon?
More light.
I've got the maximum light in the room that I can get, so.
Maybe try getting light in front, like behind your computer, so it shines on your face.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there's two people that want to move on here in the chat. They say we agreed to do it after 30 minutes.
Okay, yes. So we'll go to the presentation and then if you have more questions, please stay for after. Go ahead, John.
Okay. This is the keynote I got from Rick, and I did watch it. We did Q&A, and this is the first video. Now this one, I don't know. This was the most popular link in the MailChimp, and Rick put it in on his own, so I agreed that was a good topic, but it's not a video. It's a text web page. So that's not really something we can show in the Zoom, but this was in the MailChimp. So this link is available in Sunday's email for you. And it's a good article. I believe there's also a Take Control book on this topic that's available.
Oh, okay.
So I'll move on to this one. These are going to be the little mail videos. Now, some of these didn't work when I tried them earlier, and then I tried them again, they did work. So let's see what happens. Open link. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so that's what I was afraid of. That didn't work for some reason. One more shot and we'll move on. Now see, now it does work. So I believe this has a little ad we'll have to put up with. 5 seconds. Okay, here we go.
John, no volume on, you forgot to share the volume.
Oh, hold on. No, you're right. You're right. I got to share correctly. Hold on. I have to share again. Zoom. Share screen, share video, sound, share, play.
Experience with Apple Mail. Coming up next on Tech Talk America. Hey folks, we're not wasting any time today. Let's dive right in. At number 5, we have groups. So let's say you have a group of people that you communicate with through email on a regular basis. Instead of having to type each one of their email addresses one at a time, instead you can just open up the Contacts app, go into the File menu and select Create a New Group. Then just go back to where it says All Contacts, and then manually drag and drop each of your contacts into your newly created group. Now, for those of you out there who don't own a Mac, you can still set up this feature just by signing in through the web at iCloud.com. So once you've established your group, you can then go back to the Mail application, and instead of typing the addresses, just type in the name of the group. And when you hit enter, it'll replace the name of the group with all of those email addresses. Another nice thing to know about this feature is it will sync this information across to your other iOS devices. At number 4, we have previous recipients. Now please know, this feature can only be accessed from a Mac desktop or laptop. When you open up the Mail application, just navigate to the Window menu at the very top and then select where it says Previous Recipients. Now this is really a 2-for-1 trick because this feature can be used to solve 2 very common problems. For example, do you ever start to type someone's email address, but the autofill feature keeps recommending the wrong address? No! If that's the case, you'll find that incorrect address here in this list. And all you have to do is click on it so that it's highlighted and then select Remove. Here's another trick that you can use from inside this window. You see this blank space right here just to the left of where it says Name? We're gonna click right there so that now many of my contacts will have this little icon next to them. But if I keep scrolling down, you'll see that some don't have it. That icon indicates whether or not the contact is actually saved into the Contacts app. Any address that is listed here that does not have that means it's only someone who I've corresponded with at some point in time. So if you want to change someone from a previous recipient into a contact, once again, just click on their name so that it's highlighted and then click Add. At number 3, we have smart mailboxes. And for some strange reason, this feature is still only available on macOS and has not come yet to iOS. Don't ask me why. If you've never heard of a smart mailbox, they're basically a search mechanism. Personally, I love using smart mailboxes when all I want to do is see email that I've received from people who I actually know, and specifically messages that have not been replied to, which is usually most of them. I want to show you how to set this up, so at this point, let's flip over to my Mac.
The first thing we're going to need to do is to go into the Contacts app and create a new group where we can drag and drop all of my contacts. For this demonstration, I'm just going to call this new group Everyone. And at this point, I'm just going to use Command A to select all of my contacts and drag and drop them into that group. At this point, we can switch back to Apple Mail, and to set up the smart mailbox, just go to the Mailbox menu at the very top and then select New Smart Mailbox. Let's start by naming this smart mailbox. I'll just keep it consistent and call it Everyone. This first column we're going to change to Sender is a member of a group. And now you'll see my brand new group called Everyone as one of those options. Now we just need to click the plus symbol to add a second rule, and we're going to change that to Message was not replied to.
I actually did a video on my number 2 trick a couple of months ago, which is that now you can use your iPhone or iPad as a document scanner. So let's say, for example, you receive some sort of a form in the mail that you just need to simply sign and then send back to someone. All you need to do is open up a brand new email message on your iPhone or iPad, and then when you click into the body, you're going to tap on this little arrow icon here on the side.
Now you're going to tap on the Scan Document icon right here, which will launch the camera, and then just take a picture of your document. Your phone will automatically turn this into a PDF and insert it into your message.
And finally, at number 1, we have the ability to use iCloud to send files that are up to 5 gigabytes so that others can download or view them on the web. And by the way, this is a really good feature to know about that you can use with people who do not own Apple products. So if you have Android friends, it's an easy way to send them a video. So for example, let's go into my phone. Here I have a video clip that I shot. I'm going to send it to a friend of mine. So what I'm going to do is tap on the share button, scroll down a little bit, and we're going to go here to where it says copy iCloud link. Now I can go into a new email, paste that link, and now that person can either download it or view it for 30 days. Now, as I mentioned, iCloud does have a limit of 5 gigabytes for individual files, so if you need a solution that can handle files that are larger than that, at that point I would recommend you check out Dropbox, Google Drive, or Microsoft OneDrive. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please take a quick moment to hit that little like button, leave me a comment down below, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Everyone, this is David A. Cox with
Okay,
That was pretty good.
that's pretty good. That's a new guy. I don't remember seeing him before. Anybody got any?
Hey, John.
Hold on. I gotta kill this video. Okay. Any
John,
questions about what he talked about?
did you send that link out on Sunday for that particular video?
No, these are embedded in the keynote, which will be uploaded to the BBS later. The first item that I didn't show about take control of your digital life, that was in the Sunday email. So these, Rick comes up with these on his own. And usually I don't know about them until Tuesday. Some of them we hit upon, like the digital life one, we both came up with that independently. And this happened to be quinky dink, I guess. So anybody else have questions about what he just talked about? He had five things in there?
I got a question. Just to let you know, Tech Talk America is on a weekly program, just like Mac Most.
Yeah.
You just Google Tech Talk America. That brings you to that guy who just presented that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start looking at that and see if that's another, I'm looking for other sources of things to put in the Sunday email and nice short little 5-minute videos. I'm gonna put him on my list to check every day.
Well, Mac Most comes out on Thursday. And Tech Talk, I don't know what day it comes out, but he has it on the
Well, Mac Most has something almost every day, but he sends out an email you subscribe to once a week that has everything for the week. But I look at them every day. Anybody else got anything he talked about?
Number
One of the
two, I have a question about his number 2. It went by a little too quickly.
What was that topic?
Yeah, I can't remember. That's the problem.
Scanning.
He had five
Scanning, yes.
things.
Recipients.
Right. The scanning was an interesting one. I hadn't seen that before. In terms of which the icon was to hit.
Yeah, I missed that.
I think he spoke of previous recipients.
Previous recipients is something we've talked about before, and we talked about earlier
think
about
that was
looking in that
second.
list.
No, it was not previous recipients. It's about how to scan a device with your phone and then
Yeah.
and take that document and embed it.
Yeah, if you open up an email
Yeah.
and then click in the body of the email, you will see a little arrow, kind of an arrow comes up below that, right above your keyboard. And if you click that, then that scan icon is available to you to take. Then they press that and it takes a picture, and then it automatically will embed it in your email.
Thanks.
Janet?
Okay, this is about contacts and Apple Mail. He talked about making a group. And Apple for years has refused to allow you to have your groups in the names alphabetical. When you stick a group in an email, they're in random order. And I send to some big groups sometimes, and I need to find one person, and it's like a needle in a haystack because they just refuse to allow them to be in alphabetical order. Has anybody found a workaround for this? Do you know what I'm talking about? You put the group into an email to, BCC, and they're not in alphabetical order or order of any kind.
So I don't know if you can do this from Apple Mail, but I do this a lot for one particular client who has thousands of emails that go out of constant contact. So she sends them to me in a jumbled list with all kinds of errors in it and stuff. So I use a program called Text Edit. Text is in Texas. Excuse me. It's going away, so don't go look for it. It's 32-bit.
Yeah.
But I think you can do this in BB Edit. You take the whole list as a text file, and then you do sort as ascending and alphabetizes them. Then you can paste them back in.
I do that in Excel.
Yeah.
But You know, I
And-
don't, I don't want to have to do that all the time for these.
Yeah,
different-
that's what I have to do to fix them.
And I've asked Apple too, and they kind of throw up their hands. Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, mute yourself when the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anybody else got a question? We'll move on to the next one.
Move on and we can save questions for later. People want.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, that's the top 5. Here's the next one. This is, okay, so easy trick to clean your mailbox. Let's see if this one works. Oh, wait a minute. Was I still, like, hold on, stand by. I got to turn on the, every time you got to turn on the sound. Oh no, it is still on. Okay. Open link.
John, rather than pausing between these videos, since they're all about mail, just go through them and we can save
Okay.
questions for the end.
Okay.
It's got some amazing brightness. It's not distracting. It's not annoying my eyes. It is a world of difference.
If your email trick to show you today, which involves using a feature that's built right into the Apple Mail program to help you get a handle on the situation. That info coming up next on Tech Talk America. Hey folks, before we start today, I just wanted to take a brief moment to thank those of you out there who have watched my videos over the years. This is probably my last video for 2018. Of course, I'll be back in 2019. I absolutely love getting to make these videos. And I want to say also a very special thank you to those of you who went the extra mile and made a financial contribution in 2018 to help support my YouTube channel. So thank you to those of you who've supported me. I will continue to crank out great content for all of you in 2019. So without any further ado, back to the real class. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how to use a feature built into the Apple Mail program referred to as a rule. And then we're going to look for common characteristics of emails that you tend to not really care about. And then what we're going to do is move those messages into a separate mailbox so that they're all separate, leaving behind mostly the messages you care about. One of the things I want to make very clear in this video is that the feature that I'm about to show you, you could either choose to leave on, but I think a lot of you out there might want to just use this feature now and then. So for example, when you feel like your email inbox is getting, a bit clogged up, you just turn on this rule, apply it, and then turn it off. And part of the reason why I say that is there is definitely a risk that you could lose messages that you really do care about. Over the course of this video, I'm going to show you how to make sure that that hopefully does not happen. And if you do experience it, how to easily get out of it. So without any further ado, let's switch over to my Mac.
All right, everyone, let's start by opening up the Apple Mail application. And please understand this email account that I use is a demo account, so there's not really a lot of email to work with here. But if you do take a look at the messages, these are pretty much all junk. So when all is said and done, it should automatically filter basically the entire inbox. So the first thing we need to do here to get started is we need to create a brand new mailbox so that we have a place to store all of this junk. So let's go up here to where it says mailbox at the very top, and we're going to go down here to where it says new mailbox, about midway down. Now from here, it's going to ask you where do you want to store this mailbox. So for those of you out there who have multiple email addresses, you'll find each of your accounts listed here. Just pick whichever one you want to use to be the catch-all, basically. In this case, I'm going to use iCloud, and then just call this new mailbox probably junk and hit OK. Now, the next step involves creating a rule so that the computer knows exactly what types of emails we're going to filter into that new mailbox. So from here, we're going to go to where it says Mail at the very top left and go to the second item down, which is Preferences. From this next window, we're going to go here to the last option, which is Rules. And from here, we're going to hit Add New Rule. At this point, you can change the description to probably junk. The next item we're going to keep just the way it is. We're going to leave it if any of the following conditions are met. From here, we can start to assemble our rule. Click on where it says From, and let's go down here towards the middle of the screen to where it says Sender is not in my contacts. And then we're going to add a second rule. So let's hit the little plus symbol just to the right. And we're going to also say if the person is not in my previous recipients. And then the final part here, you'll see it says perform the following actions. And we want it to move the message to, and at this point you'll have to point it to the brand new mailbox that you've created, probably junk. And now hit OK and watch what happens. So automatically it's going to ask, do you want to apply these rules now? I'm going to hit apply and check it out. You see how every message just disappeared? Well, it didn't disappear, it just got moved. And if I click here now into probably junk, check it out. It has automatically moved all of those emails. From here, there are a few other tricks that I would like to share with you. So inside of this mailbox, by default, you can see it is sorting our emails by date. But because the idea here is that we're going to start to clear out large groups of email, you might want to consider instead switching it to from. That way, all of the emails from one particular company or person will all be grouped together. Now, as you go through this list, inevitably, you are probably going to find a few legitimate emails. And if you do, all you really need to do is add that person to your contacts, and that way they won't end up in the probably junk folder in the future. The easiest way to add someone quickly to your contacts is just to simply hover your cursor over the name or the email address that you see listed here in the header of the email. Then click on the teeny tiny little arrow that you see to the right, and you'll notice that Add to Contacts is one of the options that will pop up. Another important thing that I have to make sure I point out in this class is that rules only work if the Apple Mail program on your Mac is running. So, for example, let's say you decide to do all of this on your work computer and then shut down your computer at the end of the day. You will notice that if you check your email on your iPhone, those new junk messages are still going to come into the inbox. But then, as soon as you turn on your Mac and open the Apple Mail program, the rule will then move those emails automatically on all of your devices. And now from here, it should be fairly easy for you to quickly delete all of these messages. If you're not aware of it, one of the ways that you can select large amounts of messages at a time and delete them is if you click on the first item, then hold the Shift key and click on the last item, all of the emails in between will be selected. Then from there, just simply tap the delete key. Now, if you decide that you don't want to keep this rule running on your computer, which I would totally understand, just go back to Mail Preferences, and here where it says Active, just uncheck this box. And then if at some point in time your email gets clogged again, just come back and recheck it.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Keep in mind, if you would ever like to take a private lesson with yours truly, it is one of those things I really do enjoy doing. So whether you want to get into video editing, need help with organizing your, start a YouTube channel, and all.
Okay. Let's see if he's got another one here. We gotta wait for 5 seconds so we
If
can
you have
dismiss the ad.
postmenopausal osteoporosis and a high risk for fracture, now might not be the best time to ask yourself.
Hey folks, so Warren GH left a comment on my video from last week, which if you happen to have missed it, was all about my top 5 tricks for Apple Mail. Now, Warren's comment was the following, and I am slightly paraphrasing here. Thank you for your videos, David. I always look forward to watching them whenever I get a notification. Thank you, Warren, for subscribing. I'd like to request a tutorial about how to stop Apple Mail from misidentifying junk. I've tried various settings, but it still incorrectly identifies stuff that I've subscribed to. Great question, Warren, and when I read that comment, I thought it would be a perfect topic for a short video. So if your Apple Mail program just doesn't get you, then be sure to stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how to fix it. Coming up next on Tech Talk America. Hey Hey folks, and welcome to this short and sweet class. If your Mac is incorrectly identifying junk, I am happy to report that the solution is actually very simple. So here's how it works. Apple Mail is an open source application that can be used to access pretty much any email service out there, of course including the popular ones like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, or you can of course use one from your own domain name. But before a new message arrives in your Apple Mail inbox, it must first pass through your email provider. So if you've told Apple Mail time and time again that an address is not junk, but it keeps on going there, the most likely reason why is that it isn't Apple Mail's filter that's making that bad call, but the filter that's provided by your email service. To fix this, all you need to do is sign into your email through the web. So for example, if you use Gmail, you would just open your web browser, go to gmail.com, and from there, navigate to your junk mailbox, find that junk message, and mark it as not spam. That's it. See? Told you that was easy. Folks, if this video helped you, you can really help me out by hitting that little thumbs up like button, leave me a little well-constructed comment down below, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching with Tech Talk.
Okay, let's see if there's anything left. Okay, we got a couple more here.
The younger generation is very proactive. The earth is heating up and a lot of people are into.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today, let's take a look at customizing the Mail app in Mail Preferences. MacMost is supported by more than 600 viewers just like you. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So for most apps, you only need to go to Preferences if you want to change something from how it works by default. However, in the Mail app, I think it's worthwhile to go through the Mail Preferences and see all the options there. We all work a little differently, especially when it comes to email. And I think it's worthwhile to see what settings can be changed to make receiving and sending email more efficient for you. So let's go to Mail Preferences and take a look at those. Under General, we'll start off with the first one, the default email reader. This is one you may want to set especially if you're not using Mail, because this is the default app that will come up if you click a link in a web page or in an app that opens up a new email message. So if you're not using Mail, you want to set it to something else. And strangely enough, you have to go into Mail to make that change. After that, you've got how often new messages are checked for. It's usually set to automatically, which will actually check more often when you're plugged into power than when you're using battery. But you could set it to a specific time. And a cool productivity hack is to set it to manually. And then you have to manually hit the Get Mail button in the toolbar to check for new email. This is great if you don't want to be interrupted by new email messages coming in. Then you've got sounds. You could change the sound for a new message coming in or set it to none. You also can check or uncheck this box depending upon whether you want other sounds to play. A lot of people ask me how to stop that swoosh sound from playing every time they send an email. It's kind of unnecessary and this checkbox will do it for you. Next you have the number that appears in the dock. So with the little icon here, sometimes you have a red number like 1, 2, 3. That'll tell you how many new unread emails are in your inbox, but you could change that to all mailboxes or use a smart mailbox instead. You can also set new message notifications, how often you see those, to anything new coming into your inbox, or restrict it to only VIP contacts, anybody in your contacts, or expand it to anything new in all mailboxes. You could set the downloads folder for when you download an application. This is the default location for that. You can always save each one individually, drag and drop and all of that. But it's useful to have this set to the same location that Safari uses for downloads. But you can set it somewhere else if you want. Next let's go to Accounts. Now what you see in Accounts is going to depend on what email service you're using. So whether you're using iCloud, Gmail, your ISP, your corporate email, something else, you're going to see different things here. So just looking at iCloud, there are a few useful things you could set up. One is Drafts Mailbox. I know especially for Google users, they see tons of drafts getting saved into Google's Drafts Mailbox. You could change that to On My Mac and use the On My Mac drafts. So these drafts are never saved to the server, and the email actually isn't even on the server until you actually hit send. You could do the same for trash on the other end. So you can stick with your cloud trash mailbox, which most people probably should do. But if you really want to have trash on your local drive, you could set it for on my Mac. That way when you delete something, it's pulled off the server and just saved locally. Now this is a very useful setting for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that will delete a message, it goes into trash, and they immediately go to trash and then empty the trash. There's no need to do that. You could set it to automatically empty the trash every day or every time you quit mail. And then you could just let things build up in the trash knowing that they won't stay there very long anyway. Now under fonts and colors, if you're composing plain text email messages like I do a lot, then the message font setting here changes the font that you use when composing, which is really handy if you want nice large text for composing emails. So for instance, let's create a new message here. I have it set to plain text. So when I type a message, you could see it's pretty small. It's this Helvetica 12 point. But I could change that here to say 18 point and you could see it change its size. Also plain text messages and messages just set with default font are going to appear larger over here while I'm reading as well. And message list font will change the preview section here. So I could go and enlarge this to make that larger. Now under viewing you can change the number of lines in the preview. You can see it expand here as I go from 2 to 3 lines. You can also change what happens when you hit the delete key with the message selected. It could either archive, which is what I want, but you could have it go to trash. Notice if I swipe to, I see archive appear there, but if I change this to trash, swiping will give me delete. Then you've got some settings here for conversations. This is when you reply to somebody and they reply back to you, and it's a back and forth conversation. Mail tries to recognize these, and you have some settings for how they are shown and what happens when you're viewing them. You also, of course, under view can check organize by conversation and highlight conversations if you want better grouping of those. Now under composing you've got the default message format, plain text or rich text. Either way you can switch when you're making a new message. So I can make a new message here and then go to format and you can see I could switch to rich text. So I'd like to set my default as plain text because most of the time I just want to write some plain text and send it to somebody and there's no reason to have rich text involved and send them a larger message. If you want you could have every message you send automatically copy yourself on it or blind copy yourself on it. So you get a copy sent back to you but the receiver doesn't know that if it's blind copied. There's a checkbox here that also applies to plain and rich text, and that is to simply match the message. So if somebody sends you a rich text email and you reply, you'll be replying in rich text. If they send it plain text, you'll be replying in plain text. And then you have some options that deal with quoting. So you can quote the text of the original message or not, turn that off, increase the quote level, how much is indented in the reply, and also how much to quote. I like having it set to selected text. So for instance if I wanted to reply to this message, I hit reply, you could see it's all included here. But if I were to select some text and then hit reply, only the selection is included as quoted text. This gives you the opportunity to pick out something somebody asked and respond to that rather than including everything in the reply. So what about the rest? Well, I don't recommend using the junk mail filtering. This is just local junk mail filtering on your Mac. And it's not going to help you if you get your email anywhere else but your Mac, say on your iPhone or whatever. It's best to leave junk mail filtering up to the server. However, the blocked section here you can use to block email addresses and also phone numbers are listed here for the Messages app. And you can decide what happens to that when it matches. Signatures, of course, is a whole other thing and I've talked about that many times before. Setting up signatures and applying them to the different accounts so you have access to them and also setting what the default signature is for each account. And then there are mail rules which are useful but they're also only local to your Mac. So it's much better to go to iCloud.com, go to the Mail app there and use rules at iCloud.com. So basically I don't use the junk email filtering or the rules inside the Mail app. I let the server handle junk email filtering like I've talked about previously, and if I'm going to do a rule I do it at iCloud.com, or if it's my Google email account I log on to Gmail on the web and use the filtering tools there. But not everybody's like me, so you may want to use some local rules if that makes sense for you. I publish new tutorials. Subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little.
Okay, let's see if we got, I think there's one more. No. Okay, so then we have this screen here. So these are some other useful links. This is a video about why you should make your email rules on the server. We could watch that, I think. Let's see if that works. This should work.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today I'm going to show you the right way to set up email rules. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a community of supporters. Join us and get exclusive content at MacMost.com/Patreon. So occasionally I get email from people that want to set up rules for their email. This means that as the email comes in, it's automatically processed. It's put into a folder, it's thrown in the trash, it's forwarded to somebody. Now you can do this in the Mail app on your Mac, but you shouldn't, and I'm going to explain why. The correct way to do it is on the server, and I'll show you how. Okay, so your email originates, of course, from the internet. We'll represent it with this red dot here. Then it's going to go to your email server. From there, it's going to go to your computers. Now, in the old days, we may have had just one desktop computer. Then the email would have gone to your desktop computer, and then you could have set a rule there in the Mail app. And that rule would do something to that email. Label it, move it to a folder, do something. It would apply that rule. And that's it. It would work great. But that's not how things work now. Now we've got multiple computers and other devices like phones, tablets, etc. So what happens is the email comes from the internet and goes to your server. From there it goes to all of your devices. Now if your desktop Mac is the one with the rule, it's going to apply that rule on the desktop. And then you end up in a state like this. On your desktop the rule's been applied. Perhaps that email has been moved to the trash or a folder or somewhere else. But if you look on your laptop you don't see that rule applied. And if you look on your phone you also won't see it applied. What will happen eventually is your desktop will sync with the email server and apply that rule across all of your devices. But it will take some time and it's very glitchy. What's worse is say your desktop is offline. Say it's simply asleep or you've turned it off. Now the email comes into your server and then it goes to your laptop and your phone and the rule is never applied because the desktop isn't awake to apply it. So unless you're going to have your desktop always on and always receiving email and always patiently waiting for your desktop to process that email, sync back with the server before you check your email on your other devices, setting rules on your desktop computer is not going to be a good way to go about doing it. A better way is to have the rule applied on the server. So the email comes into the server, the rule is applied there, and then the email is sent to your devices. And it's sent there already inside a folder or having been put in the trash or forwarded to somebody or marked as read. So adding a rule on your server is fairly easy. I'm going to show you how to do it if you're using iCloud email. If you're using Google or Gmail you can do it there as well, although they call it filters. Other email systems will call it different things, but you have to usually log in to your email service on the web and go to your controls and settings there. Now old-fashioned ISP email is not going to offer this. If you're still getting your email from your ISP you should definitely think about moving to a more modern system like iCloud or Gmail. So I'm going to log into iCloud.com in the browser. This brings up all the iCloud apps and I want to go to Mail. Once I'm in Mail I'm going to click on the Actions menu or Settings here at the bottom and go to Rules. And here's where I can add rules. There's an Add Rule button here and it's fairly straightforward from there. You can test to see if a message is from an email address, addressed to an email address, is CC to, or is both. You can also check to see if the subject contains words, and also you can check the list ID to see if it contains words, although I don't really find many examples of list ID being used in email anymore. So you enter your information in here. So if it's from a certain email address, then here are the things that you can do. You can move the email to a folder, move it to the trash. You can have it forwarded to somebody. You can mark it as read, which is really just a little indicator. It'll still be in your inbox. You can combine some things, mark as read and move to a folder. move to the trash and mark as read at the same time, and forward and also mark as read. So there are the things that you can do. We'll try this out. By adding this rule here, and there's the rule. I can click I to edit it or hit the delete button. I can also drag the rules so I can see which one is applied first. Then I can hit done and I can return to those rules anytime I want to alter them. Now there is a downside to using iCloud's rules like this because there aren't as many options as there were in the Mail app on the Mac. You could do things like filter by content or stack up a whole bunch of different conditions. So you have to stick to the basics using iCloud rules. If you're using Google's Gmail servers, then you have a lot more options available in their filters.
Okay, let's see if there's anything left. Keynote. Well, he says this one's really worthwhile. So I think that's the last one.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me tell you the one thing that you can do that will really cut down the amount of spam email that you get. MacMost is supported by more than 500 viewers just like you. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So there are a lot of people out there with a lot of advice on how to reduce the amount of spam email that you get. But most of the advice is just wrong. There are things people recommend that you could do that take a lot of effort that may only cut your spam a little bit, if at all. I use email a lot, and in my experience there's only really one thing that you can do to really cut back the amount of spam you get. Most of the advice you get is bad. So let's first take a look at some common advice and why it is wrong. The first thing you'll get is a lot of people telling you how to block email addresses. But this just won't cut out spam. The reason is because spammers fake email addresses. It's not really coming from who it says it's coming from. So if you get a piece of spam and you block that sender, it's not going to really help at all. Maybe you might get one more piece of spam later that day from the same email address. But probably not. You'll probably never get a piece of email from that email address again, and therefore there's no point in blocking it. Over months and years you can build a huge list of blocked email addresses and it still won't cut out spam because every piece of spam email you get is going to come from a new random email address made up by the spammer. It's not real. Blocking won't help. You'll also see people talking about rules. Creating rules. You can create rules in the Mail app on your Mac. You can also create them in the email service that you're using. But rules don't really work either. Like let's say you block a certain word. So you say if the email contains that word, then block it. Well, that's just one word. There are thousands of other words that you could also block. Are you going to take the time to build that list and then take the risk when people use that word jokingly in email or something like that? Using email rules really doesn't work either, but it certainly will take up a lot of your time to keep adding and maintaining a set of rules. It's just not worth it. There's also the old tool of local spam filters. These are spam filters that are on your Mac, and the Mail app still has the same mail filters it's had for 15, 20 years. Local filters really don't work very well because all they're doing is trying to filter based on the content of the email or some other things, and they're just not very effective and can lead to a lot of false positives. I haven't used the Mac's email filtering in more than a decade, and even if I did and it did effectively filter out a few spam emails, that wouldn't help me if I happened to get that email on my iPhone first. Local email filters are a thing of the past, really never worked very well, and definitely don't work well now. Another thing people will talk about is reporting spam, right? Different ways to report spam, either by using a special button provided by your email provider or client, or perhaps reporting it to the company that maybe the spam is trying to imitate. Maybe you get a piece of email that pretends to be from Apple, for instance. Should you report it to Apple? Well, This takes a lot of effort on your part and it really doesn't help very much. There's so much spam out there that just you reporting your one email that you got really takes a lot of time on your part, and it's just really not going to help the overall effort to reduce spam. It's just much easier just to hit that delete button immediately. Don't waste any more time with a piece of junk email. And lastly, you get a lot of people talking about how to hide your email address. Either using, say, an alternate version of your email address, like your regular email address with a plus symbol and then a word after it, and every time you sign up for a different service having a slightly different email address. But in the end, this won't cut out spam. You'll still get spam to those and they'll all come to your inbox. It maybe gives you a way to trace how the spammer might have gotten your email address, but it really doesn't help you in your goal of just getting less spam in your inbox. As a matter of fact, it could make things worse. You could end up getting more spam because you get it to your real email address and some of these alternatives as well. Once you get any spam to your real email address, your email address is out there. You're going to get spam. The cat's out of the bag. Alright, so if all that stuff doesn't work, what does work? Well, there is one thing that will significantly reduce the amount of spam that you get, and it's what I use, and I rarely get any spam at all in my inbox. And that's simply to choose a good email service provider. Email is really an internet service. A lot of people talk about email as if the mail app on their Mac or their iPhone is the email service, but that's just the client. That's like the browser for viewing the web. It really comes down to the service that you're using. A good email service will filter spam at the server level and use the power of large numbers to figure out what is spam. When some sketchy service sends out a large amount of email to a lot of email addresses at the same service, it's easy for the service to see that it's spam. For these services, it's also worthwhile to keep track of bad servers, bad senders, do some filtering based on content over a large scale, and prevent that email from ever even going to your inbox. Now you think that almost any large email provider could do this, and they could, but they don't. The worst ones are the ISP email providers. If you're using an email address that's provided to you by your service, your cable modem, your DSL service, your mobile phone service, those are the worst at dealing with spam. They're just providing their email as kind of this add-on, as something that's kind of expected of them. But they don't really care very much about the quality of that service. They're going to let a lot of spam through, or conversely, maybe they're just going to filter out a ton of stuff and not care about false positives. So you've got to move away from your ISP's email service, and you've got to move to one that's good at handling spam. So there are a lot of free email providers out there, but not all of them handle spam well. For instance, Yahoo doesn't do a very good job of handling spam. And there are a lot of other services like that. But there are two that I think are way above the rest. The first is Google, also known as Gmail. Google does a fantastic job filtering out spam email. They are such a big email service provider that it's easy for them to identify spam coming in and stop it before it goes to everybody's inboxes. And these aren't just at gmail.com email addresses, because you can use your own domain with Google. They have a premium service for that. And that would use the same spam filtering as gmail.com does. Now the second provider I found is really good, is a really convenient one for us Mac users. It's iCloud. iCloud.com seems to filter out spam email really well. I rarely ever get spam at my iCloud account, and I've had it since it was an @mac.com email address. A lot of other people I talk to using iCloud.com also report the same. There is a third option, and that's Microsoft. Currently it's Outlook.com, but a lot of accounts go all the way back to when they were Hotmail.com email addresses. I hear that they do a pretty good job of filtering as well, but it seems they may go too far. I respond to a lot of people by email when they ask me questions or just business email, and it seems every time I respond to somebody and then I don't hear back from them until a few days later when I get an angry email asking why I haven't responded, it's that they're using a hotmail.com email address. And then when I tell them that I did respond, they usually say, oh, it went to my junk mail filter. So I think they may do a good job of email filtering, but they may go too far. But it's probably a lot better than using Yahoo, and definitely anything is better than using your ISP's email. Now I understand there's a reluctance of a lot of people to switch email services. If you use the same email address for years, then you may think about all the people that have it. You may think about all the services where you log on using that email address. But you don't have to just switch overnight. You could start using your iCloud or Gmail email address now as your primary one and still continue to get email at your old accounts as well, and gradually over the period of many months update people and update services to use iCloud or Gmail as your main email address. So it's really not that hard to change your email address. So that's it. That's my advice. If you really want to go and cut down the amount of spam email you get, switch to either Gmail or iCloud and you should see a significant difference. It's not 100%. You're still going to get some spam. And I still occasionally hear from a Gmail or iCloud user that gets a lot of spam for some reason. But for the most part, the only real thing that you can do to cut down the amount of spam email you can get is switch to one of those two services.
Okay. Let's get out of there. Let's go back to Keynote. Okay, so a lot of these videos we show are MacMost videos. So if you wanted to go and see all of his little short free videos that related to mail on his website, he has categories. So you could go look up all the mail videos that he's done here. And there's, I don't know how many, but there's pages and pages of them. It's very handy and you can find these. These are all the particular ones on mail. If you go to his main website and you go over on the right over here, scroll down, you will see videos by category. You see that? He has lots of categories.
Cool.
And if we go down till we find mail, there's 64 videos that he's done on the mail topic. So each of these categories has lots of mail. Now, some of these in here may be a few years old and mail may have changed, you know, somewhat as it goes along. But he has lots of stuff on Keynote, pages, all kinds of stuff in here. So I can quit sharing. I think that's the end of the Keynote. If I reckon right. Let's see here. I think so. Yeah, that's the end of the Keynote. So I'll stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing. All right. Anybody got any comments about those things we watched?
I do. Jennifer wants to compliment you because I finally understand my mail program because that's all I ever use, Apple Mail.
Yeah.
And other people's Comcast and other people's complaints about their email and everything, I say use iCloud or whatever. And I kind of understand why. So thank you for the.
I beat people up all the time about using their Comcast address or their Astound address. Astound is terrible mail.
Well, it was very helpful. I kind of understand. Thank you.
Those are good videos. They were good.
Yeah, and like you said, I always call it weaning yourself off. So
Yeah.
you don't have to give up your Comcast. You can just start telling, when you make a new message, send it from Gmail. A lot of people don't even keep an address book. They just find your old email and hit reply. Over time, if you just send out as Gmail, you'll get in as Gmail. Your mail list, of course, you'll have to go to Amazon, whatever, and tell them your new address. But you can do that over time. You're not going to lose your Comcast. You're going to have it forever until you fire them or something, you know. But Gmail is really good at filtering the spam. If you get spam, they usually put it in the spam filter, and they rarely put false ones in the spam.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything bad from Gmail.
Yeah, Gmail is pretty good.
But
And
you may have to clear their previous recipients list.
Yeah, the previous recipients list is just to be helpful, so you don't, if they're not in your address book, when you start typing, it autofills. But you could get, if you keep a good contact list, you can clear the whole previous recipients, and then it'll just find your contacts.
Yeah, this
Or
was very
if you
helpful,
do communicate with people a lot in your previous recipients, and there's people in there that you email a lot and they aren't in your contacts, you should probably put them in there, because that's a filter that it says, okay, it's came from somebody in my contacts, don't mark it as spam. So yeah, do that. I don't recommend putting, a lot of times on an email list, it'll say at the bottom, add us to your contacts so we don't go into the spam. I don't like that idea of filling your contacts up with Amazon's no reply address and stuff. I don't like that idea. Anybody else got something?
Got a question about Zoom, if I may ask.
Go ahead.
I would like to share a video over Zoom with members of a car club, but the owner of the video is concerned that it could be copied by someone, and since it's copyrighted, I want to avoid offending him or getting him in trouble with some of his other sponsors that spent money to create the video. Is there a good way to prevent people that are listening or seeing a shared video, prevent them from recording it?
Yeah, in the Zoom preferences, you can not allow recording.
Okay, it's that easy, huh?
Something to that.
It's not going to let somebody who has a screen capture program capture the entire Mac screen. It could or it could not. It depends. Sometimes they'll block out any recordings with it, and it depends. If somebody's determined to, they could shoot it with their iPhone or something. They could do almost anything.
Bernd, be very careful on anything that's copyrighted that you get written permission to share it.
I don't think if you're sharing it with your club and you know those people that they're gonna, and you turn off Zoom recording so they're not allowed to record it in the Zoom by clicking one button, that they're gonna get it and put it out there where you're getting into a trouble.
Well, yeah, if you can limit it is one thing. But you have
Yeah, and Zoom, there's a preference in Zoom to not allow recording, I believe.
Don't know. Never tried it.
We would also probably invite specific people with specific email addresses to join, and that ought to provide some safety right there.
Well, you have a waiting room and you only let in the people, nobody's going to know about your link to your Zoom meeting, only the people you send the invite to. Don't put your Zoom meeting out there public. And having a waiting room and you only admit the people that you recognize. Like, we don't have any problem here. We got what? We get 50 people. That's not a problem. If you're going to record it yourself, don't go put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
That would be bad.
That gives me some comfort, and I think I'll be able to assure the owner of the video that we are relatively safe in going ahead with this. So thank you for the feedback.
Look there's a lot of Zoom settings that aren't in the Zoom application. You have to log into your account on the web page, and there's hundreds and hundreds of settings in there. You got to look at those real careful. And I believe there's something to not allow recording by the people who log in.
I don't have a purchased account with Zoom, but I guess that's.
Well, then you're going to be limited to 40 minutes.
I figure we're going to have to join at some point in time, and I guess you can cancel after a while too, so you're not paying.
You can pay by month, $15 a month, and that'll get you unlimited time.
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you.
You could also, one of the members of your club who has a paid account could be the host. And then you could share, like we share screen here, and they could be the host.
Sounds like a good way to save $15.
Yeah, if you do it on a regular basis and you want to have meetings longer than 40 minutes, it's $15 a month. Or if you pay by the year like we did, you get a discount. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's a little cheaper.
Okay, thanks again.
Anybody got any more comments about questions? We did a lot of videos on mail. Rick put a lot of stuff in there. Everybody's good with their mail now, huh?
I think we've pretty much gone over mail.
Yeah. The best.
Don, I've got a
Go ahead.
question regarding iOS 14.
Yeah.
When you swipe off your application and you keep swiping it off as you end it, it goes back. And if you slowly pull up from the bottom, you see all those still running in the back. And
Once you get them up in a fan shape, then you can swipe them up to kill them.
So is that the only way to do that? Or is
Yeah.
there a way to prevent it from doing that? Or this is a default? It just goes back there and then you have to do it. You swipe it off and you kill them again, right?
Anything that runnings goes into the background automatically. Yeah. They don't automatically quit themselves. A lot of them, all those things in that fan shape thing aren't necessarily actually running. A lot of them, when they get older, they're just previous things that you could click on. They're not actually running.
Yeah, I read that it actually goes into some kind of a stasis form and just sits there until you need it again. Then it's loaded and it automatically pops right back in. But this poor wife of mine, my wife, she had dozens, and all of a sudden the battery started getting used. So we did kill them all off, and once she killed it all off, the battery's doing just fine.
Yeah, if you're having some kind of problem you're trying to fix, then killing them all off might not be a bad idea. And then restarting the phone.
Okay.
Reboot. That would, if you're having any kind of issues. It's not necessarily, a lot of people don't ever restart their phone. It runs for, they just use it. They just use it and they don't, it's fine.
I just have to laugh watching Al trying to clean his camera. It's pretty hilarious. Go, Al. I think Janet had a question. Janet, you're muted. Unmute. Hit the space bar.
My phone is not telling me to upgrade to iOS 14. Is that because I don't have Catalina on the computer, or?
It has nothing to do with your computer. Your phone is all by itself.
Well, why doesn't it nag me like the computer does that I can't stand? But
it doesn't nag you. It just, you don't even, does your system icon have a red dot on it?
No.
But you go in there and go to general, it says upgrade? How do you even know the upgrade is there? Because you went and looked.
Well, it must be. I mean, it's not that old. It's a 10, an X. No, it doesn't have a red dot on settings.
Select software update.
Yeah, go to general software update.
You mean, software update in the settings? Or where is that?
Under general.
Yeah, it says it's there, but there's no red dot or anything.
Well, when you put on software update, does it say you're up to date?
No, it says I can download and install. It's just not mentioning it.
Are you on 14 already, or are you on 13?
13.
We'll just hit download and install.
Do it.
Put up to some power and Wi-Fi and it'll do it.
Okay. Just thought maybe it's a bad omen or something.
It told me it didn't like you. We're gonna get Jan.
I'm gonna cry. Okay, thanks.
It's not obnoxious like the system preferences icon. If you're not on the current version, there's a red dot there and it won't go away until you do it.
On the computer, it's just horrible.
I know, it won't go away.
There's a terminal command you can use to get rid of the red dot and install one update. But you may have to run it 3 or 4 times a day because every time Apple updates any of the security stuff, it kicks it back on. So I just put it on a macro, and if I get tired of looking at it, I run the macro.
Oh, maybe I should ask at this time, the reason I haven't gone to Catalina is because I still want to be able to use the print shop. And it's a new version that's terrible. And has anybody found a really good greeting card application? It'll make two-sided, you know, half fold, two-sided printing and all that.
And you don't want to, did you preview the new version and you know that it's bad, or you just heard other people say?
I've tried it.
Make another part.
Don, mute yourself.
I muted him.
I've tried it and I didn't like it. I mean, the old one is so wonderful.
I'm still on Mojave. Nothing wrong with Mojave.
Oh, really?
Mojave's fine. It's still supported for another year until the next, you know, whatever comes from Big Sur comes out. So it's got life.
Ken, why are you still on it?
Some 32-bit apps.
I'm still on, yeah. I'm still on High Sierra. So is Chris.
Structuring stuff like the old, you know, the old System 9, and you can't do it. You can't put stuff at root level in Catalina.
High Sierra is about to go unsupported though. As soon as Big Sur comes out, we won't get security updates and Safari updates anymore.
One iMac is still on El Capitan because of driver problems on neat receipts.
Yeah, well, that's getting old, but it still works, and you can still run the latest version of Chrome. Chrome is still supported on El Capitan. Firefox is only getting security updates. They're not getting feature updates, but it still works too. At some point, they're going to kill off Chrome.
And I tried to install Parallels, but I have not been successful yet. I should hire somebody to help me, I guess.
Yeah, Chris is doing that. He has El Capitan running in a virtual machine for some reason. I don't think Chris is here today.
No.
Chris, you here?
No, he's not.
Not here. Or you just have an old machine around. If you want an El Capitan machine that'll run Print Shop, we have them at the office. If you want the room to have another machine just dedicated to Print Shop, it'll work until it dies.
Yeah, well,
It's not a good internet choice.
I want to get a new computer anyway, but I guess I'm waiting for the next one, MacBook Pro.
Okay, David has his hand up.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly trivial question, but it has to do with mail. You used to have the option in the display format to use the classic display format where you've got your mail.
I know what you're talking about.
Below. That disappeared in Catalina in preferences. I don't see it there anymore. I don't have a problem. Mine kind of carried over, but I had a friend who wanted to go to that format from the side-by-side, and I couldn't figure out how to help her.
So they changed it. I'll show you how to fix this. Okay. Let me see if I can do it on the Big Sur machine. Let's see if I can share screen. Okay, you guys see that?
Yes.
You see my screen? Okay, I'm going to open Mail. This is in Big Sur. Even though I don't use it, it's here on the recording machine. So they took it out of preferences. It used to be that you would do that in preferences.
Right.
And in preferences, under viewing, there used to be a checkbox to use classic mode.
Exactly.
They took that out, and now they changed it so you can view, you can do the same function. Notice mine is in columns. See that? That used to be called classic. If you don't have that on, it's in this mode, which I call the iPad view. So like that. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, right. So go
that used to, right. So the way you get around that is you go to View, use column layout, puts the columns back. That used to be called classic mode.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And in Mojave, it sucks. because you can't click on Mojave, you can't do this. Resize the columns, move the columns around. That's all fixed in static mode. You can't change it. In Big Sur, excuse me, Catalina, they broke that. Big Sur, they changed it back so I can move these columns around. I can resize them. You cannot do that in El Capitan. No, excuse me, Catalina.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the way they people were griping about it, so they just took that preference away, so nobody could figure out how to get that old layout.
People who use
actually fixing the problem.
People who use a lot of mail and are used to that feature were up in arms. So
Okay, John,
somehow,
stop sharing your screen so we can
okay,
get the group.
Stop. Okay. At some point, if you used to use the column view and you install a new OS, they automatically flopped you over to the what I call the iPad view without asking you. But you could turn it back on in preferences called use classic layout.
Okay, Joanne has a question in chat. Or I don't know if it's a question.
Well, it wasn't a question, it was just a statement that
Yeah.
all my rules quit working late last year. And no matter if I have a new rule or not, none of them work. It was just a statement.
It made them rules may have broken on an upgrade or something. You might have to like remove all your rules and start over. Or it's the order of the rules. Like you can reorder them. Maybe the first rule says something that invalidates the rest of them in the list, something like that.
Joanne, try just adding a rule and see if the new rule works.
And put it at the top of the list so it hits that rule first.
Okay, because I've tried doing that. And so I was just in the process of trying that. So the new rule I'll make, I'll put it at the top and see if that works.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Because rules are executed in order. So you can drag them up and down. Which one happens first? If you say a rule for some message, put it in this folder, and then further down the line, it says same message, put it in this folder. Well, it hits the first one and that happens. It gets to the second one. It can't happen because it's not there anymore.
Okay, any other questions, statements, salutations?
Good info on the mail today. That was
What?
really helpful.
What topics would you like to see? Of course, next week, every other week, we're doing classes. So next week will be Mike's class about iCloud. Then in 2 weeks, we'll have another meeting. Maybe Rick will conjure up something. What topic would you like to, what would you like to hear? Anybody got suggestions? No?
Stuff about Catalina.
Well, at some point, there's going to be, Big Sur is going to be out probably. The rumor is they're going to have another event in November for Big Sur and or the Silicon Max. Something's got to happen before the end of the year. And Big Sur will be released. And so there'll be a bunch of stuff about that. And Mike has a class scheduled for the first Tuesday in December on Big Sur, and I'm sure it must be out by then. That's what we're presuming. So at this point, I said, well, if it comes out next week, we'd move the Big Sur class up, a week or two, so it happens right after it comes out. But at this point, it's only a month away, so who knows? Who knows? There's something more coming this year. They're not done.
Have you heard any rumors about a new iPod EarPods Pros?
Oh yeah, there's rumor. Well, the rumor I heard recently is they're coming, but those aren't coming until next year. The rumor that keeps getting delayed is these tile type, what do they call them? Air tags? What do they call those things?
I think they're called air tags.
Air tags, which is a tile knockoff. Tile complained in Congress that if Apple releases these, it's going to put them out of business. So they may be, speculation is they're kind of reluctant to rock the boat right now because like they're on the hot seat. Google's now being sued for antitrust because they're like Microsoft was 20 years ago. So who knows?
Yeah, I remember we heard about those tags about a year ago.
A year ago, yeah. Exactly. So who knows? That's small potatoes. That's, you know.
But that's not what's causing the AirPod Pro or EarPod Pro delay, is it?
No, they're not related. They'll redesign the AirPods, you know, at some point. To get you to buy some new ones. So these ones I'm wearing, the batteries are getting weak. They don't hold very long. I bought some ones off of Amazon that said, oh, these are pretty good. They were rated high. They were $50 and they were on sale for $20. I said, oh, whoopee, that's cheap. Bought them. Didn't work at all. They worked in one ear. When they showed up in the sync, they showed us two different devices. You'd sync one, they would work on this side. You'd sync this one and work on this side. It said you're supposed to sync them to each other. Couldn't get it to work. I'd send them back. They were cheap though.
Can you replace the batteries in an?
Nope. Nope. I saw a video of somebody cutting them open with a hot blade soldering iron, and they're glued in. It's like they shrink wrap. You know, these little stems right here. That part there is that's where the battery is. It's the entire length is a battery. Somebody cut it open and peeled the battery out, but it's all sealed in plastic. There's no way to change it.
So those AirPods John has are hand-me-downs from me.
These are first gens. These are 5 years old.
Right. And so he just has to wait until I realize that I'm never actually going to use these that are still sitting in the box and pass them on to him.
The good news is and somebody has posted this before, okay, when you're doing a Zoom meeting that's going on for 2 hours, these don't last for 2 hours, especially when they're bad. You just take one of them out, put them in the charger. You can hear on the other one, they charge up in 5 minutes and last another hour. So you put one in for 5, put one in for 5, you're good for another hour. So that's what I do.
And you should Ann, why aren't you using yours?
Yeah, don't you like them?
First of all, I don't want to talk to anybody on the telephone, and ever. I mean, certainly not in the car. So what do I have to? I'm never going to use them.
There's only two things I actually use them for. I don't use them for the phone. The iPhone, I can hear fine, and I'm hard of hearing. I use them in the Zoom meeting, works great. And I use them for the Apple TV, works great. Because when you turn on the regular TV, I can't hear the voices, the background music. Just something about when you put in the Apple TV, I can hear them talk to the AirPods. It's wonderful. Works.
And I'll trade you an Amazon Echo.
Yeah, you can keep your Amazon Echo. Oh my goodness.
The only thing is these first gens didn't get the new feature where when you go from the computer to the Apple TV, it doesn't automatically switch. You have to open the settings, blah, blah, click down, down, down on the Apple TV is really dumb. You got to go through about 6 steps down and 6 steps back up to get them to sync again. Supposedly the new AirPods 2, whatever they call it, and iOS 14, and that's all sorted out. So they just, whichever ones you have on or you're using is open, it just switches automatically, which would be wonderful. It's not a problem on the computer because you go to the menu and say connect. The Apple TV, there's no way to jump like from where you are in the app all the way over to settings to where you want. You got to back out to the top, and then go back down in, change it, then back up all the way to the top, and then go back up. It's like 20 clicks.
They got to get rid of that lousy controller and give us a real controller.
Yeah, so it's weird. The interface isn't wonderful. It works, but I think that's why they needed to fix that. One of the things they needed to fix to automatically switch.
But the new ones do that, don't they? Don't they switch automatically?
The new ones with the new software update are supposed to switch automatically with iOS 14 and the TV OS update and all that stuff on the wall. It's supposed to all just automatically work. I haven't experienced that because these don't have that feature. So yeah, it's sad. I mean, they couldn't. I don't think the new ones are going to have replaceable batteries either. And they cost, you spend $200 when the batteries go dead. You got to throw them away. So like, you can't. What the heck? No, it is what it is.
Quote a great poet.
Okay. Anybody else? We got pushing 5 o'clock. It's a 2-hour meeting.
John, can I just ask a quick question about my computer?
Yeah.
Okay. It's all of a sudden it started, the sound is like not garbled, but almost like a battery's going dead. Does that happen in an iMac Pro? It
Battery
doesn't
shouldn't affect the
crisp
sound.
any longer. Pardon me?
The sound?
Yes.
iMac Pro?
MacBook Pro.
No, the battery wouldn't affect the sound.
Why would that happen? It just started and you're all talking, but it's almost like it's not fuzzy, but it's not crisp. I don't even know how to
If you
explain it.
restarted the computer, it would probably fix it, whatever it is.
Okay.
Then
do
both
that.
speakers,
Pardon me?
both speakers on both sides, they're both bad?
I don't know. All I know is I hear
You're right close to each one.
You only noticed this in Zoom when we were doing the meeting.
No, it's everything.
Oh, it's everything.
Mhm. It just started a couple of days ago.
Do you have Apple Care?
No.
Started it?
Buddy?
Have you restarted the computer?
I will do that and see if that works.
What do you normally listen to that you hear this besides Zoom? What else do you use the speakers for?
Basically, if I'm listening to anything like on Facebook or YouTube, or class here, I listen to it, but it just started doing it. So you're
Well,
all
then,
fuzzy.
It's a hardware thing. It wouldn't have anything to do with the battery. That's a hardware thing typically.
Okay, and what would that mean to try and fix it? Would it be something I'd have to take to Apple?
Yeah, like the speaker's broken or something.
Your speaker could be your sound circuit. It could be anything.
Try plugging in some headphones.
Oh, I could do that. I don't have any, but I'll get some.
See if the headphones sound bad too.
Okay.
The first thing is try a restart.
Do what? I'm sorry. It's all, you're all fuzzy.
Try a restart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now and leave you?
Well,
go ahead, Log. We'll be here for a minute. We're about ready to end the meeting, actually.
Okay, that's okay. Then I'll get back with you next week.
You can do it now, but we will assume you don't love us anymore.
Okay.
Your computer restarts fast. It's got an SSD. It only takes a minute.
Okay. Bye.
Kitty.
Josie. I see
here.
Josie. I see Josie. Anybody else got anything for the good of the meeting?
Well, I decided on, I could not find Japanese curry, so I've decided on Pakistani lamb curry. Dasher's
Never
at the
had that.
restaurant waiting to pick it up.
Pakistani lamb curry, huh? Not
Yeah.
goat? You didn't go for the goat?
No, and our Kali. It's one of those restaurants on that list you sent me the other day. It's
It's
delicious.
in downtown Concord or something, right?
Yeah, Kahari Gosht.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We got anything else in chat? We answered that one, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording here. I'm gonna switch to gallery view. And everybody can wave night, nighty night.
Bye now.
We'll stop the recording.